Let's focus on Boeing. The company has agreed to plead guilty to a criminal fraud conspiracy charge to resolve a U.S. Justice Department investigation. Boeing sources parts from around the world but assembles its aircraft in the U.S., supporting American jobs and serving two major U.S. airlines. This makes Boeing a crucial player in both the U.S. and broader aerospace ecosystems. Recently, Mexican authorities made a notable decision to ban Boeing aircraft in favor of Airbus models. This move marked a significant development in the shifting dynamics of international trade and geopolitical strategy. Coming in response to new tariffs announced by the newly elected U.S. president, the ban signaled a regional power shift and a realignment of traditional industrial loyalties. Mexican officials, reacting to Washington's new policy stance that threatened established trade relationships, chose to pivot decisively towards a European aerospace giant. This decision set the stage for a complex interaction of economic, political, and industrial interests. The ban's significance lies not only in challenging Boeing's dominant market presence in the region but also in its role as a strategic countermeasure to what was perceived as unilateral economic pressure from the United States. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The U.S. administration's announcement of new tariffs was widely seen as an attempt to leverage economic influence over key trade partners. The announcement by partners sent shockwaves throughout the global trading community, especially for Mexico, a country whose economic framework has long been deeply connected to that of its northern neighbor. The tariffs were more than a mere economic inconvenience. They represented a direct challenge to the complex network of trade relations painstakingly built over decades. Confronted with the threat of punitive measures that could disrupt established supply chains and hinder economic growth, Mexican policymakers embarked on a strategy to realign the nation's commercial priorities. The choice of Airbus as the alternative supplier was driven by both economic pragmatism and political signaling, highlighting a deliberate effort to resist the pressure from U.S. tariffs and reclaim a degree of national autonomy in international trade. This policy shift was not an impulsive reaction but the result of careful deliberations that had been ongoing behind the scenes. Mexican authorities had been closely monitoring the broader impact of U.S. protectionist measures, and the timing of the new tariffs offered a strategic opportunity to assert independence. The decision to ban Boeing in favor of Airbus was based on thorough analysis of market dynamics, cost structures, and the long-term strategic interests of Mexico's aviation industry. Mexico's reputation for technological innovation and competitive pricing positioned it as a viable alternative capable of meeting the diverse needs of both Mexican airlines and government fleets. This policy shift was framed as an effort to protect domestic economic interests while also sending a clear message to trading partners about Mexico's willingness to engage in a recalibrated form of economic diplomacy. The decision had significant consequences for the aerospace industry. For decades, Boeing had maintained a dominant presence in many international markets, buoyed by a reputation for reliability and a well-established support network. Mexico's pivot away from Boeing marked a major blow to the company's market share, with potential ripple effects across the sector. Conversely, Airbus found an opportunity to capitalize on this gap, strengthening its foothold in the Americas. Industry experts speculated that this shift could spark heightened competition between the two aerospace giants, driving innovation in design, service delivery, and operational efficiency. While Boeing faced immediate financial challenges, the broader narrative pointed to a dynamic market where strategic government decisions could unexpectedly reshape competitive landscapes. The economic implications of the ban were complex and far-reaching. It highlighted the fragility of global supply chains amid rising protectionism and unilateral economic policies. By redirecting its procurement strategy, Mexico challenged the long-standing U.S. dominance in the Western Hemisphere's economic sphere. This move also reflected a growing global trend of nations seeking to diversify sources for critical goods and services in response to increasing geopolitical uncertainties and trade disputes. For Mexican businesses and consumers, this shift promised a rebalancing of power that could lead to better pricing, enhanced technological offerings, and a more resilient domestic market capable of withstanding external shocks. Politically, the move carried strong symbolism. The U.S. tariffs were widely seen as an assertion of American dominance, a unilateral approach threatening the principles of reciprocity and mutual respect foundational to decades of international trade. By banning Boeing, Mexican policymakers made clear their refusal to accept what they viewed as an inequitable exercise of economic power, emphasizing that trade relationships are fluid and that national sovereignty remains a crucial factor in shaping economic policy. The implications of the move were significant, forcing both nations to re-evaluate their bilateral relationship in light of these new realities. Although the recalibration of this relationship was marked by tension, it also created opportunities for dialogue and negotiations grounded in fairness and mutual benefit. The technological aspect of the decision was equally important. Airbus, a company known for its innovative design and engineering expertise, emerged as a forward-thinking alternative, offering Mexican airlines access to cutting-edge aircraft and advanced technology. The switch from Boeing to Airbus was not merely an act of political retaliation, it also acknowledged the rapid technological advancements transforming the aviation industry. Mexican authorities aimed to position their national fleet at the forefront of this evolution, ensuring competitiveness in a fast-changing global market. Moreover, the focus on technological innovation was intended to boost domestic industries by fostering investment in research and development and encouraging collaboration among government agencies, academic institutions, and private enterprises. The strategic reasoning behind this policy extended beyond the aerospace sector, as Mexican policymakers recognized the long-term economic advantages of diversifying international partnerships. By aligning more closely with a European manufacturer like Airbus, Mexico sought not only to enhance its aviation capabilities but also to strengthen ties with European markets and technology hubs. This move was part of a broader strategy to reduce reliance on any single trading partner, particularly the United States, and to mitigate risks associated with economic dependence. In a broader sense, the decision reflected a trend among emerging economies striving for greater control over their economic futures by building more balanced and diversified trade relationships. The shift toward Airbus symbolized a larger narrative of nations redefining their roles on the global stage, aiming to establish networks of influence less susceptible to sudden changes in unilateral economic policies. Domestically, the transition was expected to trigger a range of developments, including the reorganization of maintenance and repair systems and the introduction of new training programs for aviation professionals. These changes had the potential to create jobs, enhance skills, and contribute to Mexico's economic modernization and industrial upgrading. Ultimately, the reorientation towards Airbus was seen as a catalyst for revitalizing local supply chains and fostering closer cooperation across various sectors. The integration of multinational corporations and domestic firms was expected to deepen Mexico's involvement in the global aerospace manufacturing and innovation network, with long-term benefits extending beyond the aviation sector to enhance the country's overall technological and industrial capabilities. This policy shift, however, was shaped by a complex international political context, responding not only to American tariffs but also to a rising wave of economic nationalism worldwide. Countries across continents faced similar challenges, striving to balance global trade demands with the protection of domestic industries. Mexico's move can thus be seen as part of a broader pattern of retaliatory actions, where nations sought to assert their economic independence amid external pressures. Far from being a simple bilateral issue with the United States, this decision represented a significant moment in the ongoing struggle over global trade rules, highlighting the intricate interplay between economic strategy and political ideology. Public debate in Mexico reflected this complexity. Supporters praised the decision as a necessary and strategic recognition of a multipolar world where no single economic power dominates unchallenged, while critics warned of potential short-term disruptions to airlines and supply chains dependent on established procurement systems. Despite such concerns, the prevailing narrative emphasized long-term foresight and strategic recalibration, with Mexican leaders framing the policy as an essential response to a rapidly evolving global economy. Industry experts and market analysts responded with similar nuance, noting that the move exposed the vulnerabilities of a globalized economy, where corporate success depends not only on market factors but also on national government policies. Ultimately, Mexico's decision underscored a growing trend of nations employing economic measures as instruments of political leverage, a clear signal of shifting dynamics in international relations. The decision to shift from Boeing to Airbus sparked intense analysis and debate among industry experts, who examined the potential long-term effects on global supply chains, market competition, and the stability of international trade networks. This change was not an isolated event but part of a broader economic realignment reshaping the relationships between nations and multinational corporations within the global trade framework. Traditionally, economic policies in aviation prioritized technical performance, cost efficiency, and operational reliability. However, the ban on Boeing marked a significant departure from these norms, as geopolitical considerations took precedence over conventional business factors, highlighting how political calculations have come to heavily influence global commerce. The intertwining of national economic interests and political stances created a complex dynamic, with procurement strategies increasingly driven by political imperatives rather than traditional metrics. This move challenged established industrial practices and signaled a future where economic decisions would be closely examined for their political implications. The regional context, particularly in Latin America, with its diverse economies and varying degrees of dependence on the United States, was crucial in shaping the decision's impact. For many countries in the region, recurring U.S. tariffs had created tensions that necessitated contingency plans to reduce reliance on a single trading partner. Mexico's ban on Boeing and preference for Airbus reflected a stance of regional solidarity and an assertion of economic sovereignty in the face of external pressures. This decision resonated with other nations under similar pressures, reinforcing the idea that economic interdependence need not compromise national autonomy. Consequently, the ban had ripple effects across the region, prompting policymakers to reconsider their economic strategies and seek ways to mitigate vulnerability to external shocks. Additionally, this shift raised significant questions about the future of technological development within the aerospace industry, where Airbus's reputation for innovation played a key role. Mexico's commitment to innovation and investment in next-generation technologies positioned it to lead the aviation industry into a new era defined by efficiency and sustainability. The shift away from Boeing was widely seen as an opportunity to modernize the country's aviation infrastructure by aligning it with the latest advancements in aeronautical engineering. This alignment promised benefits such as improved fuel efficiency, enhanced safety features, and a reduced environmental footprint for the national fleet. Beyond economic considerations, this focus on technological progress reflected a broader ideological dedication to modernity and growth. By embracing Airbus, Mexico endorsed a future vision where innovation forms the foundation of economic development and industrial competitiveness. The transition also impacted the labor market by creating a demand for new skills and expertise needed to operate and maintain advanced aircraft systems. Consequently, significant investment in workforce training and development became essential, with educational and technical institutions playing a vital role in preparing aviation professionals for a more complex technological environment. Emphasizing continuous learning and adaptation, this approach aimed to strengthen the long-term resilience of Mexico's aviation sector and enhance the country's status as a hub of technological innovation. The decision resonated beyond the aviation industry, prompting a re-evaluation of the intricate relationship between politics and economics. What some initially dismissed as a political maneuver, the ban on Boeing, emerged as a compelling example of how economic policies can serve as instruments of geopolitical strategy. The implications extended into broader discussions about the evolution of global supply chains, shifting international alliances, and the ongoing pursuit of economic sovereignty in an interconnected world. Ultimately, this event highlighted the increasingly blurred boundaries between political decisions and economic strategy in today's global economy. The interplay between economic and political spheres is inevitable, with developments in one often spilling over into the other. This dynamic carries profound implications for how nations confront future economic challenges, especially as they navigate a landscape where traditional measures of success are increasingly shaped by the demands of political autonomy. The decision to ban Boeing in favor of Airbus exemplified a moment of deep national reflection, highlighting the tension between economic modernization and political self-determination. It represented a conscious choice to challenge established norms and assert a more independent, assertive stance in international trade. This strategic shift embodied a broader national vision focused on long-term economic resilience and the development of a competitive industrial base, rather than short-term gains. Moreover, the move underscored the intrinsic link between a nation's economic fate and its ability to control its own destiny, even amid intense external pressures. Mexico's bold policy realignment sent a clear message to the global community: the rules of engagement were evolving. For countries reliant on stable, long-standing trade alliances, this shift prompted a re-evaluation of policies in light of new economic realities. The pivot towards Airbus was emblematic of a wider trend toward diversification and decentralization of economic power, as nations sought to shield themselves from the unpredictability of international politics. Mexico's example is likely to inspire other countries to adopt similar measures to protect their economic interests. Behind this decision lay a complex economic calculus rooted in adaptation and resilience, particularly the recognition that tariffs imposed by dominant powers threatened the established global trade order. In response, Mexican policymakers pursued proactive strategies aimed at mitigating immediate economic impacts while laying the foundation for a more diversified and robust industrial sector. Ultimately, banning Boeing was a forward-thinking step to address long-standing vulnerabilities and reshape the nation's economic trajectory. Mexico sought to reduce its over-reliance on any single technology source or expertise by turning to Airbus, a company known for its innovation and competitive performance. This move reflected Mexico's ambition to reposition itself as a forward-thinking nation ready to tackle the challenges of a rapidly evolving economic landscape. The decision highlighted the intricate balance between domestic economic policy and international diplomacy, likely shaped by complex negotiations behind closed doors. While the public announcement was a bold statement of defiance, it also stemmed from careful deliberation that weighed the risks and rewards of such a strategic shift. Mexican leaders understood that the consequences would extend beyond commercial aviation, influencing national security, industrial competitiveness, and the country's diplomatic standing worldwide. This measured approach to policy, balancing immediate economic stability with the long-term goal of strategic autonomy, exemplified a sophisticated form of governance during a time of significant geopolitical change. Rather than a reactionary move, the decision was a deliberate strategy aimed at reshaping Mexico's economic future amidst uncertainty. On the international stage, it signaled how economic tools of statecraft were evolving. Trade policies were no longer isolated tactics but essential parts of broader strategies to assert national influence and safeguard interests. The ban on Boeing and the shift toward Airbus clearly illustrated this new paradigm, where the lines between commerce, technology, and diplomacy blurred. This shift mirrored a broader global trend of integrating economic policy with geopolitical strategy, promising to transform international trade dynamics and redefine relations between countries. Beyond immediate tariff disputes and retaliatory measures, the decision conveyed Mexican leaders' determination to protect national interests through bold, unconventional actions. It suggested a redefinition of economic interdependence in response to the demands of a rapidly changing geopolitical environment. By changing its procurement strategy and embracing a new technological partner, Mexico was asserting national sovereignty while fostering sustainable economic growth, a move that resonated as a clear declaration of its future direction. The decision to favor Airbus over Boeing served as a powerful reminder to other nations facing similar challenges that economic progress is deeply intertwined with the defense of national identity and autonomy. This policy shift was expected to have far-reaching effects across multiple dimensions of national life, particularly impacting sectors closely tied to aviation such as manufacturing, technology, and logistics. By reorienting its aerospace procurement strategy, Mexico aimed to unlock new investment opportunities, stimulate innovation, and drive advancements within related industries. Mexican manufacturers and service providers stood to benefit from enhanced collaboration with a leading European aerospace firm, gaining access to cutting-edge technologies and expertise that would bolster their competitiveness on the global stage. This cascading synergy underscored the transformative potential of a well-calibrated strategic move. Beyond the immediate economic benefits, the decision also spoke to a broader narrative of international economic resilience amid increasingly volatile and interconnected global markets. It signaled Mexico's agency to redefine its economic destiny, challenging the dominance of a single aerospace manufacturer and rejecting historical dependencies and external pressures. This shift reflected a move toward a more multipolar world, where economic power is distributed more evenly among diverse actors. Ultimately, the choice to ban Boeing in favor of Airbus was more than a response to tariffs. It was a bold assertion of national sovereignty and a strategic pivot toward a future promising greater economic stability and technological advancement. By embracing change and challenging convention, Mexico set a precedent for how nations might navigate modern geopolitical complexities while steadfastly defending their economic sovereignty. The decision reflected a convergence of economic, political, and technological factors that highlighted the shifting dynamics of international trade. It was an act of strategic defiance against unilateral tariff impositions, resonating deeply across national and global spheres. This policy shift was as much about asserting Mexico's sovereignty as it was about securing a competitive edge in the aerospace industry. It underscored how economic choices today are tightly intertwined with broader concerns of national autonomy and global diplomacy. By redefining its procurement strategy, Mexico not only challenged a long-established industrial leader but also sent a clear message to the international community: it was ready to pursue an independent path in an increasingly multipolar world. This bold move continues to provoke reflection among policymakers, industry experts, and scholars, who recognize it as a pivotal moment in the nexus of trade policy and international relations. The decision encapsulated the complex interaction of economic strategy, technological innovation, and political determination, demonstrating how nations are redefining their roles on the global stage. It illuminated the delicate balance between economic interdependence and the necessity of national self-determination, a world where the choices of one country can echo across continents and reshape global commerce. Thus, Mexico's shift from Boeing to Airbus represented more than a mere change of suppliers. It was a declaration of intent, a statement of independence, and a visionary step toward a future where economic resilience and technological progress go hand in hand. The far-reaching implications of this event continue to reverberate as a testament to the power of strategic decision-making amid geopolitical uncertainty. The Boeing ban was not an isolated incident but a critical milestone in an ongoing story of transformation, one that embodies the challenges of modern trade, the pace of technological advancement, and the enduring pursuit of national sovereignty. As the international community adjusts to the realities of a multipolar world, the lessons from Mexico's decision will likely guide future strategies, serving as a beacon for nations striving to balance economic growth with political independence. Marked by audacity and foresight, Mexico's path remains a compelling example of navigating complex international pressures while emerging with renewed purpose and clarity. The intricate web of factors influencing this choice highlights the necessity of understanding the broader context behind economic policy formulation and the interplay of external forces shaping these decisions. The tension between domestic priorities and long-term strategic objectives was clearly demonstrated in this case, providing valuable insights for those observing international trade. As countries navigate the dual challenges of globalization and economic nationalism, the choice to favor Airbus over Boeing serves as a striking reminder that the future of commerce is being shaped not only in the marketplace but also in boardrooms and government offices worldwide. This decision reflects a bold willingness to embrace change and a determined effort to pursue a path that challenges traditional thinking, embodying the transformative spirit that defines the new era of international trade. Mexico's move stands as a powerful symbol of this shift.